We're here today with Shirley Gabbery, and Shirley has some recollections of what was her life, her husband's life, shortly after World War II. Shirley is a village member, and we're happy to hear her story. Shirley, could you fill us in a little bit about what you remember shortly after World War II when your husband came home?
Yeah, well, we weren't married till after the war, but we bought a trailer because we couldn't get an apartment. You know, all those veterans came home at once, and it was difficult. So my husband, I don't know where he bought this second-hand trailer, but it was 17 feet, including the hitch, which was about that long. So inside it was probably more like 14. And as wide as a sofa, you know, a normal. We moved in there and it was beautiful as long as it was just the two of us. And we're going to save our money for 6 years and then buy a house. And we were both working, of course. And unfortunately, in about 4 months, I got pregnant. It was before the pill. And that took care of those plans. So Susan was born. We'd been married 13 months, fortunately. And so my husband built a little crib long enough for, I don't know, 4 feet long, and hung it on the wall at the foot of our bed. And our bed was a three-quarter size bed built in the back, so it was surrounded by walls on three sides. And so that was our baby. And she stayed in that crib a long time, so it worked very well. And we lived there in the trailer for 2.5 years, I think it was. Maybe about 3 years, yeah. And we sold the trailer and put a down payment on a house back when banks were different. It was a small cooperative bank in Dorchester that loaned us the money. We were both working, but I don't know what kind of a risk we were. So we bought our first house, and it was a converted single. During the war, in Quincy, they asked people to make apartments in their house because of the shipyard. Florida shipyard had 3 shifts going, and they needed places for these workers that came from other places, you know, to stay. So our place had been converted before we bought it. Yeah. So that's basically where we started out.
Shirley, I remember you saying that the trailer didn't have all the accommodations that you would have liked.
No. They didn't have bathrooms in the trailers then. And the bathroom was in the back of the gas station, which was out front, and was separate from the gas station. I mean, it was connected, but in the back. And there was a ladies' room and a men's room, and there was a laundry room that had one Bendix washing machine for the whole trailer park. Really, it was a lot of people. But it worked, I guess. And plus, we could go to a laundromat, you know, with the car.
It made you really appreciate when you finally had the house and your own bathroom.
It was so luxurious, and it was probably the size of my lav here.
Yeah.
And they had a little short tub on legs, you know. It was very old, but it was so luxurious. They didn't have to go outside in the night.
Yeah.
Especially when I was pregnant, you know. There were many trips through the snow in the night. And we had no running water in the trailer except in the summer because the pipes were on top of the ground. And then we did have running water for our kitchen sink, which was a small sink, you know. Took care of us.
And what type of work did you do?
Well, I didn't have an education that I really dearly wanted, but I worked punching a calculator all day, you know. In the instrumentation lab, which you may have noticed on the news recently, they developed the gyro there while I was working there, the engineers. And I remember them coming in every morning, anxious to go see what happened to the gyros overnight. And then when they ran the test for it, they had a quiet little place in the airport there. Can't think of the name. You might.
Is it? It was at MIT, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it might have been in Bedford.
Bedford. It was. And it was away from all the other activity because it was top secret. We were all cleared for top secret. And so they took me out there by the company station wagon every morning, and I loved that. And we had a theodolite where I took readings all day long, which they used when they figured out their plan to go to someplace in New Mexico for their test flight with this. And they had a B-29. It was just sitting there. It looked like it was sitting on the ground, and it was all cleared out inside except for a row of seats along one side, you know. And that's what they used when they did their test flight. And they hit it right on the mark. They were so, they were so thrilled.
Thanks to your good measurements.
That was one talent I had. I was extremely accurate.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
That's why they had you doing that job.
That's why they sent me on different jobs. I know, because I was originally in like a pool of people that calculated, like, I don't know, the 4 of us or how many. And they pulled me out of there, and I had other assignments. I worked for different engineers, and yeah, only because I was accurate, that's all. Yeah. And, but I loved going out to Bedford. It was fun, yeah. So it was so wonderful. They were so exhilarated when that test flight worked, and they flew the plane to New Mexico using their new gyro, and it landed right on the button. Yeah. So that was the beginning, and now the gyros are going to the moon and all kinds of places.
And you were there at the beginning.
Yeah, it was the beginning. Yeah, it really was. Yeah. So that was kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.